It's day 3 of the Future Hospitality Summit here in Dubai. And this morning we are turning our attention to sustainability. I'm catching up with Aaron Goldring, the head of Middle East research at Tourism Economics, to talk about an incredible new piece of work they've been working on, the Global Destination Resilience Index. Aaron, great to chat to you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it.
So tell me, you've been working on collecting data from governments all over the world, UN figures as well, to analyse sustainability data and why it matters. Talk me through the index.
Yeah, so I think, the key point to make here is, we're trying to quantify sustainability. It's such a difficult topic and it's quite, wide ranging. We've been able to kind of narrow it down to 5 key factors that we have found, quantitative data-driven results, which is, how we want to kind of be able to stand behind this index in terms of sustainability. So we look at 5 key factors. So we look at, the tourism intensity of a market in terms of, peak seasons and how that impacts that. We look at the transport mix. So if a market relies on short haul travel compared to long haul travel, as an example. We look at the environment and the climate. So environment, you're looking at, nature preserves or their oceans health, for example. And then in terms of the climate, its resilience to rises in temperatures or extreme weather events. And then finally, we also take in the macroeconomic. Being an economist, we have to look at it from an economist's point of view. So we take in the macroeconomic point of view of its key source markets and its resilience to kind of a change in that.
Okay, so let's break down the data. Which countries in the world have proven to be the most resilient and which ones are still falling short and why?
Yeah, so in our analysis, the most resilient is Peru. It kind of stands out as the most resilient market. And then it's closely followed by Hong Kong and Poland.
Talk to me why Peru was seen as more resilient than some of the others.
Yeah, of course. So Peru scores very highly actually in the transport mix. So, it relies quite heavily on domestic travel and, close neighbouring countries for its travel. So it's not, susceptible to large changes in long haul travel or travel demand, from, say, an airfare tax that is being discussed for sustainability. It's a lot less susceptible. So it scores very highly and that kind of boosts its rating quite a lot, yeah.
Okay, and then which are the ones that are falling short?
So in terms of the least resilient, we in our analysis was Malaysia and Spain. 2 different reasons where the main kind of resilience falls is for Malaysia it's more of an environmental sustainability where they're kind of fighting becoming a kind of rapidly expanding economy, but they do have strong protections in place for the environment, but it's also an opportunity for where we could see them rise up the index if they kind of improve that. In terms of Spain, there's also kind of susceptibility to rising temperatures, and it's kind of its peak season intensity, its tourism intensity as well. So I've mentioned kind of 5 markets there, all kind of different regions. So there isn't one clear region that is having either most resilient or least. It's very much individual market led.
Of course. Now today we are in Dubai. Tell me, how did the UAE perform in the midst of that?
So the UAE is actually performing very well, and it's ranked 9th out of the top 50 markets that we analysed. Yeah, so it's a top 10 for the UAE. So in terms of where it kind of has a strength is in the environmental pillar that we discussed in the factors earlier, and basically the majority of that is because the temperatures are high already in the UAE, so it is built to kind of withstand increases in temperatures and extreme kind of weather events. It won't impact massively what is happening here. The tourism infrastructure is already very well built to deal with that. And then in terms of a macroeconomic point of view, the source markets that it relies on for tourism are very strong and kind of are also not very susceptible to massive economic shocks. So we don't see a massive change in source markets happening there. So they're kind of 2 key factors that the UAE performs very well in.
Okay, interesting. Now, this is the first time you've actually put all of this data together. But I understand it's going to be an annual process. Is that right?
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll look at it, possibly on a quarterly basis. Hopefully as kind of granular as possible, because now we have this. We're really excited to launch, this kind of baseline measure, and really kind of constantly review the data and see how and track how markets kind of move up and down the resilience index. And then, travel and tourism is, a massively evolving sector. So we will also kind of be reviewing more kind of quantifiable factors that we can include in the index going forward. So yeah, this is a very much a baseline, but we're very excited about the kind of future in this sector.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, fascinating data and being able to empower companies and governments to be able to make those changes and become more resilient. Thank you so much for joining us. Lovely to be able to chat with you.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much. Thank you.